Critical Role makes some controversial changes, Elon Musk has words for D&D, and Henry Cavill wanted to play who?
What a jolly nice chap.
Welcome to 5 for Friday, our weekend look back at 5 of the biggest tabletop and fantasy stories of the week. This week, we're talking about the latest episode of Critical Role, Elon Musk calling out Dungeons & Dragons, and a cool Henry Cavill story. Now, before we dive into this week's news stories, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons to support a new independent tabletop news channel. Now, on to the news. The latest episode of Critical Role revealed some contradictory revelations about Ludinus's plans for Predathos. While Ludinus had previously said that he wanted to unleash Predathos upon the world to eat the gods, now it appears that he actually wants to control Predathos. He's doing this by siphoning the life and power out of Imogen's mom to turn himself into a vessel for Predathos' power. Additionally, Laura has been making rolls every episode on behalf of Liliana to deceive Ludinus, which has prevented him from releasing the truth about what happened to Aor. Now, some fans felt like this was a big, out-of-left-field change that contradicted everything we've seen from Ludinus so far, and it was only done to help wrap up the campaign a bit more quickly. Now, we did get the first official kiss between Dorian and Orm, but all of that was overshadowed by some very strange Ludinus reveals.
No!
There's a flash of intense energy and a pain that strikes through your mind. And we're gonna go to break.
WizKids has revealed a brand new Red Dragon miniature that uses the 2024 redesign. The new adult Red Dragon Tyrant has an 8-inch wingspan and will be released in July 2025. While not as dramatically changed as some of the other dragons, the Red Dragon does have a longer tail and a new color scheme that incorporates an underbelly of smoky scales to help it camouflage while flying through smoke clouds. Now, the painted version will sell for $79.99 and the unpainted version will cost $59.99, and that, again, will come out in July of 2025. Elon Musk, yes, Elon Musk, has called upon Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro to, quote, burn in hell for publishing the making of original Dungeons & Dragons. On November 21st, former gaming executive turned culture warrior Mark Hearn posted several passages from making of original Dungeons & Dragons on Twitter, criticizing the recently released history book for providing context about some of the misogyny and cultural insensitivity found in early Dungeons & Dragons rulebooks. These passages were pulled from the foreword written by John Peterson, one of the foremost historians about Dungeons & Dragons and who also collaborated with Wizards of the Coast on the book. Hearn stated that these passages, along with the release of the 2024 Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide for D&D's, and this is in his word, 40th anniversary, keep in mind it's actually D&D's 50th anniversary, both erased and slandered Gary Gygax and other creators of Dungeons & Dragons. In response to this, Musk wrote, "Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets to trash Gary Gygax and the geniuses who created Dungeons & Dragons. What the bleep is wrong with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast? May they burn in hell." Musk had played Dungeons & Dragons at some point in time in his youth, but it's unclear when the last time he had ever played the game. Now, notably, making of original Dungeons & Dragons, it contains countless correspondences and letters written by both Gygax and Dave Arneson, including annotated copies of early D&D rule sets, and by annotated, I mean annotated by Gygax and Arneson themselves. Most early D&D rule supplements that were written by those two, as well as early Dragon magazines, are also found in the book. It seems odd to call one of the most extensive compilations of Gygax's work an erasure, but it's unclear whether Hearn or Musk actually read the book, given the incorrect information about D&D's anniversary. Additionally, Gygax and Arneson are credited in the 2024 Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide. The exact credit reads, "Building on the original game created by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, and then developed by many others over the past 50 years. In fact, the opening paragraph of the 2024 Player's Handbook is written by Jeremy Crawford and specifically lauds both Gygax and Arneson for making Dungeons & Dragons, and contains an anecdote about Crawford meeting Gygax." Henry Cavill apparently wants to play Kaladin in a live-action adaptation of the Stormlight Archives. In a recent interview, Brandon Sanderson, the writer of the Stormlight Archives, said that Cavill actually called him about the role. When Henry Cavill called me and was like, "I'm too old for Kaladin, aren't I?" I was like, "Yes, and he's also Asian," Sanderson said. He said he had read the books and knew it just wouldn't work, but it was kind of heartbreaking when he called me. He was like, "Man, I don't think I can be Kaladin, can I?" And I was like, "No, I don't think you can be." Now, while Cavill wouldn't be the right fit for a live-action show, he would definitely fit Kaladin for an animated version. Just throwing that idea out there. And finally, to end things, check out the new Warhammer 40k secret level trailer which was released today. We got some pretty cool new looks at the upcoming episode with a look at the Space Marine helmet clasping to Titus's head and a possible look back at Titus before he was modified into a Space Marine. Now, the Warhammer themed episode will be released on December 10th.
Power must be controlled. Fear forged into obedience.
That's all the news that we have for you today. Let us know what your favorite story was in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and keep following Above the Table.